Hello, good evening, and welcome back to another episode of Minds on Guard, where we are dealing with the subject of media and all the ways that we interact with it, the ways that it's presented to us, and how we can do a lot of work to be able to think well about the media that we engage with, the world that we engage with. Recently, we've been in a bit of a surface level exploration of the idea of the appeal to emotion and the logical fallacy known as the appeal to emotion. This will be the third video that deals with this subject. In the last one, I spoke a bit about the ways that if we stay stuck in our appeals to emotion, it leaves us vulnerable to manipulation and really spiritual attack, which is why I've named the channel Minds on Guard. I've spoke about this a few times. But the goal here is to be able to deal with all of the ways that we, as humans, are under attack and are vulnerable to manipulation. I brought up a quote that I have referred to before, and it deals with the idea that truth is a component of reality, an objectively encoded component of reality, and it is as it is, despite any emotional appeals or, intentions or anything that might feel like truth. If it is not in line with the objective truth that is encoded within reality, then we're missing the mark on what it is that's actually guiding us in our thoughts and behaviors. I want to pick right back up where I left off with that and sort of dive a little bit deeper into what's going on there. So when we are appealing to our emotions and when we are rejecting the idea of the encoded objective truth of reality, what this points to is really a profound level of fear that is operating within a person who might make the choice to live in this way. Recall that I emphasized the choice aspect of these appeals to emotions in the last video. Now, whether it's a subconscious choice or it's an actively deliberate choice, the drive to think and live in ways that are set directly against the truth of reality is a really, really serious problem. And this isn't to malign or diminish anybody's fears. I do believe that we all have to deal with this, and I want to be sensitive to that. So when a person is scared or living in fear for whatever reason and operating from that emotion, they can be very easily convinced to do and say pretty much anything that someone would have them do or say. At risk of oversimplification, it is a major and many times the main reason that people feel sort of stuck in whatever problem sets that they happen to find themselves in. This fear that I'm talking about. I personally have been in these spots at many, many, many periods in my life, and I know many, many people who have expressed really deep pain and suffering with respect to feeling lost or confused and really without a way to remedy their issues. Now, I don't intend to suggest that these states are easily overcome. When we're living in these deep, profound levels of fear, oftentimes it can be extremely oppressive and feeling like there's no way out. I also simply don't think that people only choose to be miserable and live in these awful circumstances. There are definitely many, many factors at work which set people in either more desperate or harmful situations and environments in their lives than there are others. But what I am suggesting is that we are highly emotional creatures, and we're in great danger of allowing the extremes of our emotions to cloud our thinking in ways that really can wreak havoc on our lives and the lives of those around us. Even more dangerous is our susceptibility to attack when we're being ruled by our emotional states. And as I've said before, this is the battleground where both psychological and spiritual warfare are fought. There are forces in this world that prey on our fears and direct us towards the path of chaos and destruction. I would call on everybody watching this to think about the question, do you hold on to any deep-seated fears about anything in your life? Now take some time and give that some real deep thought, like real solid deep thought. This is an exercise that I have to go through, and I avoid it, and I really need to do a lot better job at it. If you can't find any area of your life where there are deep-seated fears, even subconscious ones, then I really truly am happy for you. But if you do find one or two, then understand that you're not alone, and it's likely that there are even more lurking in the depths of your subconscious if you're able to dig and dive deep to those levels and bring them up into your conscious thinking. Commonly, people are simply afraid of being alone. That's a really big one for me, and I know it is for a lot of other people. It really is a terrible feeling, this feeling of loneliness. We all want safety and we all want love, and we are made to be in relationships to one another. And an even more destructive and ubiquitous fear is the fear of death. This is a very difficult one to confront, and most people avoid it all up until the moment that they actually leave this temporal sphere. And this is an entirely understandable fear to have, and I would hazard to guess that most, if not every single person, has had to deal with or is dealing with and look at this fear at some point in their lives. We can't escape this outcome, and I know that it's a driver for some of the worst kinds of behavior in my life. Really, all human behavior of all history. The avoidance of death is one of the key drivers to a lot of the chaos we see in the world, and just touching on an idea of transhumanism and the eventual chaos that is going to cause. It is rooted in the avoidance of death and the fear of death. If allowed to dominate and drive our reasoning, this fear will cause all manner of tactics to be employed to avoid even looking at the truth that we are finite beings. Picking up on that, manipulation, lies, cowardice, and violence of every manner of evil could manifest within a person who's driven by the emotion of fear. It's a really important subject to think about, and we all need to deal with the fears in our lives that keep us locked in these emotional appeals and rejecting objective truths that really do lead us toward love and relationship and healthy living. So what does this content about emotional appeals and fear really have to do with the media? Aren't we meant to be diving into the media and how it plays on us and all of the nuances in that? Well, I see that it pertains to the media quite a lot, actually. It's no secret that large news media corporations have, as their business model, an agenda to keep control of your thoughts and feelings. The idea of ratings is a really easy one to understand as to how this plays out. It's worth the study of the evolution of news media in America to help discover underlying operations and the deeply deceptive machines that keep the behemoths of things like CNN, Fox, CBS, and Disney, and now in the 21st century, social media giants like Facebook, Google, and Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. The movie Network is a really, I think, essential watching as regarding like an intro into what goes on behind the idea of narrative-driven media, news media. It's indeed just, that movie really is just an intro to the idea, and I hope to go into the history of all of that in the near future. It's going to be an important thing to look at. But these entities, these news media entities, these social media entities, they traffic in appeals to emotion. That is their product. Particularly fear, anger, and all of this is in order to shape and push and pull society and direct human behavior to serve even larger agendas. Now, if this sounds conspiratorial or like a conspiracy theory, that's because it clearly is a conspiracy. I hope to lay that out in the near future, and even if we don't dive into all of the details and nuances, it's important to understand that these companies, these entities, exist to make money, to make profits, and they keep you locked in to serve that end. And the reason they traffic in these emotional appeals is to keep you locked in. So I'm going to wrap up this little series on emotional appeals with this call to really step into the work of revealing the things that you're fearful of, speaking truth to them, like digging in and asking yourself why you fear the things you fear, whether it's loneliness, being alone, whether it's financial instability, or even just conflicts within families, or really even the big one of death. Think about these things, deal with them, ask questions about them. We have been given a great gift in the world in that we have an offer of salvation from these fears through the Lord Jesus Christ. And we are safe because there is no fear that is of God. He does not traffic in fear. He does anything that is rooted in fear is not of the Spirit of God. And so I would encourage everybody to look at this and really ask yourself, do you feel fearful? And if so, look deep within yourself and ask why. And I will be praying for you. I'll be praying for the journey that you take while you endeavor to look at those things within yourself. Please comment in the section below on any fears you might have, and that will help me know where to pray for. I do make this video in love, and I sign off again with, I hope that everybody stays vigilant and diligent, keeping their minds on guard, and I'll see you at the next video.